Ever feel like no matter how hard you work, your music still doesn't sound professional? I've been there. When I started 10 years ago, I wasn't sure this would ever be more than a hobby. Now I've produced over 1,000 tracks, some on Spotify, some used on TV by brands like these, and a lot still sitting on my hard drive. I've learned a lot the hard way, but you don't have to. Here are the biggest lessons that actually move the needle and can help you reach your goal faster. I've broken these lessons into two parts. First, the mindset and workflow habits that made the biggest difference, then the technical and creative insight that leveled up my sound. Let's start with the big one, inspiration. I've always been a pretty anxious person, especially when performing. And one thing that used to trigger me was not knowing what would actually come out when I sat down to create. That didn't become a real problem until I started getting paid. With real clients and real deadlines, the pressure got heavier. And eventually it started killing my creativity. I don't think I was even enjoying it anymore. Then I figured out what was going on. I was creating for the result, not the process. And that shift from chasing perfect outcomes to actually enjoying the moments is what brought everything back. And honestly, I think that's the biggest cause of writer's block. So lesson one, create for the process, not the result. Now let's talk about talent. When I first started producing, I kept wondering if I had enough of it. Did I need perfect pitch? Did I need to play faster than everyone else? But after starting at Berklee and working in the industry, I've met a lot of insanely talented people. Some had amazing ears, others had crazy chops. But here's what surprised me. When it comes to music production and composition, those weren't always the people making the best work. Some of them actually struggled with it. And I realized something. The only thing that truly matters in writing music are taste and imagination. If you're not tone deaf, and I'm guessing you're not if you're watching this, everything else can be learned and practiced. Talent's overrated. So lesson two, taste and imagination matter most. But now the real challenge is shaping your taste and building the skills to express it. That's where your learning method matters. I've always been a huge fan of Flume. If you don't know who he is, his sound pushed electronic music forward using unique production techniques. Back in college when I was grinding non-stop to level up, I got obsessed with decoding his method. But Flume's music is not easy. I literally spent a full year dissecting his tracks and recreating his techniques, until I felt like I finally got it. And then I moved on to the next challenge. Like a chef, you gotta master existing recipes before creating your own. So lesson three, imitate to improve. Steal from those you admire. For years, I kept music to myself. Honestly, I was just scared to put it out there. I remember being stressed out as hell just posting an IG story of a beat. But here's the thing, the whole point of making music is to share it. And like it or not, being online is a big part of the game now. So I started small, just filming my laptop for IG stories, then beat performances on Reel, then talking on camera. And now look at me, I'm rambling into a goddamn lens. You don't get comfortable overnight, it's a skill. And making good content, that's a skill too. So even if you're a beginner, start putting your stuff out there. An IG story is a great first step. Lesson four, show your work early, even if it's not perfect. Build your community early. And bonus tip, I used to worry about people stealing my ideas, but the more you see how much amazing music is out there, the more you realize no one's coming to steal your shit. And if they do, congrats, you get a hit. Lawyer up. Back in college, I had a friend who owned every plugin you could think of. Hard drives full of them. Sounds cool, right? But here's the thing, he never finished anything. He'd get stuck halfway through tracks, spending more time downloading plugins than actually making music. It's a common trap. With so much flashy gear out there, it's easy to confuse collecting tools with getting good at using them. And don't get me wrong, great gear is awesome, especially for sound libraries. But you can go really far with stock plugins. Master the basic first. Once you know how to use them well, then upgrade. Lesson five, graduate gear later. That was the mindset, now let's talk technique. Because we're still trying to make good music, right? One day in class, a student played his weekly project and the track slapped. Everyone, including the teacher, was impressed. That was legit production. But then the teacher asked to see the session, and guess what? Almost the entire thing was loops. Now look, I'm not knocking loops, they're a great tool. And with AI coming in, shortcuts like this are only gonna get more powerful. But if that's all you use and you don't know how to build your own parts, your growth is capped. Shortcuts aren't bad, but they can replace real skills. Lesson six, master the craft first, use shortcuts second. That's how you grow long term. The other day, an artist I work with sent me a demo. He thought it was basically done, just needed a mix. I hear that all the time. People treat mixing like a magic fix that'll glue everything together. But if your sounds are cheap, your arrangement's off, or the elements just don't work, no mix is saving that. Mixing isn't a miracle, it's polish. And if the productions underneath is shaky, it's like repainting a crumbling house. So lesson seven, mixing doesn't fix bad production. When I was starting out, I kept hearing the same advice. Use your ears. And honestly, it kind of stressed me out because I wasn't sure if I was actually hearing the right things. Compression, EQ, all those subtle mix moves. Then one of my production teachers at Berklee said something that stuck. You have eyes for a reason. Use them too. Some mix moves are so subtle, it's hard to hear them in isolation, even with years of experience. But they add up. And when you know what you're doing, your eyes can guide you just as much as your ears. So lesson 8. Use your ears, but also your eyes. The other day, I was working with an artist producer who said guitars were supposed to be compressed a certain way. No context, just something he picked up online. That's a common problem. There's a ton of content out there, some great, some not so much. And the not so great ones, they love to speak in absolutes.
Only a Sith deals in absolutes.
But here's the truth, there's no universal rules. Context and intention are everything, both in production and mixing. If I'm smoothing out a rhythm guitar, I might go with soft compression and a slow release. If I want a fun guitar to punch, I'll go harder, fast release, slow attack. Same tool, totally different move. Rules don't mean anything without context. Lesson 9. Be intentional with every move. A few years back, a mentor showed me how he used automation to keep his track evolving. At the time, it felt tedious. All that polishing just seemed like extra work I didn't really want to do. But over time, I started doing it too, and I get it. The last 10% of your track, that's where the pros separate from the amateur. It's the polish, the details, the final finesse that makes it sound finished. And you know the other big difference between amateurs and pros? Amateur shows demos, pros show finished tracks. Lesson 10, finish the damn song. The last 10% is where you pull ahead. Back when I was just starting out, I became friends with a guy who was already a working producer. That alone gave me a glimpse into how the industry actually works. But more importantly, I had someone I could ask questions. Someone with experience who could spot what I was missing and help guide my progress. These days, with all the noise online and endless bullshit tutorials, it's easy to feel lost or waste time learning the wrong things. Having a mentor cut through all that, it gives you clarity, direction, and real feedback on what actually matters. So lesson 11, seek mentorship. It's one of the fastest ways to grow. That's it. Those are the biggest lessons I've learned in 10 years of producing. If you're an artist or producer working on your own music and want some outside help, don't hesitate to reach out. There's a link below with more info. And if you want to keep leveling up your production game, check out this video next. I break down the real reason why your track doesn't sound pro yet.